Hello fellow FPL managers and welcome to another game week preview where we're looking towards the big double game week 24, as well as a look back at game week 23, which was pretty painful for everyone to say the least. So I'll have a quick run through now of game week 23 and then look at some game week 24 players and see what you guys are doing for the Liverpool and West Ham double game week. Remember, it's not just Liverpool, but of course we're going to be looking at the Reds, especially now that they're running away, City dropping points again, and Liverpool beating with another clean sheet Manchester United at home. So 40 out of 44, average is 44 and I got 40. So the reason why this is obviously painful is, and again, I'll keep stressing, guys. So now I'm 1.9 million from 1.8 million. I know the rank is terrible, but I'll still keep trying to say the same thing of try not to be angry at the decisions. Try only, don't be angry at the decisions that you make as long as you really thought about it and you felt that was the right decision. But don't be angry at the result, only the decisions that you make. So I did what a lot of people did, and that was to bring in Danny Ings instead of Raul Jimenez. I tweeted out, I said it on stream, I said it was a very heavy heart. I didn't really want to get rid of Raul Jimenez. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's got pretty difficult fixtures coming up. And Danny Ings was the most informed striker. He's even up there in terms of European football charts in terms of goals and form. They'd just overcome Leicester. He'd had something like 9 shots in that game. He was looking absolutely in form. And Wolves were looking a little bit tired, not looking great in terms of form. So I made that move like a lot of people did. And again, that wasn't a bad decision. Also, apart from the Liverpool game, I think it's in game week 25, Southampton have a really, really good run of fixtures. So again, it wasn't an awful decision to make. Raul Jimenez, I think, hasn't scored a brace or more so far this season. I've had him for most of it. So again, that was a bad thing for me. So Ings comes in for 2 and obviously Raul Jimenez great haul. And I had put Traore on the bench because I've got McCarthy in goal. So Southampton was second in terms of goals conceded. Best defence over the last few game weeks. Second only to Liverpool, who have kept constant clean sheets. And then, lo and behold, 2-0 up as well, and they throw away and let in 3 goals in a single game. So not only did I get rid of Raul Jimenez for Danny Ings, but I've also got Traore sat on my bench. I have, you can see, 24 points sat on my bench. So again, Holgate, 8 points sat on my bench. But I cannot really be angry at that because Sidibe, I'm playing Sidibe. I didn't want to go double Everton defence. I felt Sidibe was going to play. He had been playing under Ancelotti at right back, right wing back, or even right midfield. Lundstram was facing an Arsenal side without Aubameyang, their main threat. So arguably, and then Lascelles getting a clean sheet, 6 points back in the side as captain. An absolute smash and grab from Newcastle there, who just Chelsea couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But again, would you have started Lascelles, the Newcastle captain, in this team? Not really. Would you have started Holgate ahead of Sidibe? Maybe again ahead of Lundstram, but again, how many times has Lundstram punished us? Perhaps my punt here was having Moy against Aston Villa over Traore against Southampton. So that I can say that was perhaps the wrong decision in hindsight. Pre-game, Villa were not looking in great form. Southampton were, so I thought Moy was going to outscore Traore this game week. But that's just the way it is, guys. So again, if you're looking at a really poor rank and a really bad game week, a lot of us have had a really bad game week. Just try and stay true to your decisions. Don't worry too much about the result because you can't affect the result, really. And that's football. That's the reason why we love it. Things like this happen all of the time. So we're of course moving on to a really, really big game week. So I'm looking at the scores. I mentioned earlier City again. So I did like a little meme. It was the disappointed guy meme where a lot of the Leicester people who backed Vardy. I was surprised. I thought Vardy was going to be the highest captain player again, but it wasn't. It was just Kevin De Bruyne, but like a few thousand. So when people obviously saw Kevin De Bruyne on the Saturday blank, they were thinking, oh, Jamie Vardy, here we go. And then he not only blanked, but he got 0 points. Liverpool again. So we're not going to focus too much about the past because I think we've all had a pretty poor or okayish game week. Pretty difficult, a lot of draws, and A lot of the big boys not really bringing a lot home. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin there bringing me 8 points. So we'll just have a quick review. So Kevin De Bruyne blanked against Palace, even though he's been in such good form at home. Danny Ings blanked. Jamie Vardy got 0 points. Just again, we're talking about informed players who've been reliable all season. Those three players, three of the best FPL assets, certainly in the last sort of 10 to 15 game weeks. If you look at Danny Ings, season Vardy's up there, and Kevin De Bruyne's like the highest one. All blanked. Mahrez dropped. It's a point that we all keep saying, and it's a point that I said on the stream last week that if you would say Jesus, Mahrez were definitely going to play every game week, they were, you know, you look at Liverpool, you've got Salah, Mane, Firmino, you know pretty much they're going to play. They might get dropped for 1 or 2 games. If you could get those promises from Manchester City, we'd all probably have 3 City and 3 Liverpool, but we don't. And Mahrez, despite being in great form, dropped again. So that is a real big problem that that you're always going to have with Manchester City assets. Heung-min Son looked a little bit rusty coming back in again, his second game back. So nothing there from him. But Mope, there you go, getting an assist, but he only got 4 points because he got booked as well. So it was not a good week in terms of the predictions. So going forward now and looking at the players that are lining up. So the one transfer that I made is Snodgrass, someone that I'll talk a little bit about later on. He came in for Moy because I had a little bit of extra money. So again, I'm looking at my bench. I'm making sure that I'm not going to leave like 26 points on the bench, but you know, you just never know in this game. I am at the moment sticking the captaincy on Mane over Salah. I would like to put it on someone like Salah because he does have that lower ownership, but I just feel like Mane away from home, plus the fact that Salah just played 90 minutes and Mane came off with 10 minutes left with Firmino. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but at the moment I'm just leaning a little bit towards Mane over Salah, but that could change. It's of course going to be a Liverpool player that gets the captain's armband, and I would probably recommend the same thing. You're looking at the top of the table by a country mile, constant clean sheets, absolutely thumping the league right now, and they've got a double game week. I think, yeah, you've got to really captain a Liverpool player for game week. So my transfer in was Snodgrass in for Moy, and we'll talk about Snodgrass later on. And I am going double Everton defense, but I have already decided, again, something I said on stream and something that I said that when I play my wild card, it was something I was going to slowly edge towards. I'm just going to try and become a little bit more differential. I said I was worried about dropping Vardy, but I think a lot of people are going to be getting rid of Jamie Vardy, especially after getting 0 against Burnley. But I'm just feeling that having 1.9 million, having too many highly owned players is just not going to let me go anywhere. But I also don't want to get rid of players that are going to score or do well. So, for example, Kevin De Bruyne, I think it's over, is it 50 for 49% ownership? 52% ownership. So, of course, he is extraordinarily owned in the game. Over half the game own him. However, do I take him out and bring in someone like Son, who's really low owned? That's a big risk maneuver. But I still feel that Kevin De Bruyne, week in, week out, is going to score good points. But I still feel as though I'll keep 2 or 3 players, for example, Mane and De Bruyne. They're really heavily owned. But then have the other sort of, let's say, at least 7 other players that are quite differential. So Danny Ings still isn't too bad. You can see 28%. So I am going to start to lean towards just having, say, 3 players who are quite highly owned, and the rest are going to have to kind of be like less than 20% if I'm going to try and find a way to climb up these rankings. Because even, again, with the likes of Mane, I think he's in the high 30s, low 40s. Yeah, 40% ownership. Again, do I take him out for someone who's like 5% owned, like Pepe or something? Like, no, I still feel that Mane is going to score a lot of points this season. And even in one game week, Pepe might outscore Mane, and I see a rise. The other 4 game weeks, Mane is going to outscore Pepe. And then I'll just be going further down the rankings. So differentials isn't anything or everything. You always still pick the players who you think will score the most. It just happens this year that it's been pretty crazy in terms of when you've looked at the stats and you looked at the form, you think, oh, here we go. You know, this guy's in good form, like Danny Ings going at home against Wolves, and Wolves looking a little bit tired. And then, boom, Danny Ings does absolutely nothing in the game. Raul Jimenez gets a brace and Traore holds as well. So that's just the way it is. So that's what I'm going to be personally doing. I'm going to go a little bit more differential. Or another option would be, yes, I said about not getting rid of Kevin De Bruyne or Mane, but just sticking with the team, but changing to the other differential. So something I could end up doing, and it's again, it's high risk but high reward maneuver, would be to get rid of Kevin De Bruyne and bring in Sergio Aguero. So that is still sticking with a top quality player with a much lower ownership percentage. However, like I said about Mahrez, it's just rotation. So yeah, 2 or 3 games in a row, Aguero and De Bruyne plays, but then the game after that, Aguero gets dropped, Kevin De Bruyne plays, Kevin De Bruyne hauls, and my big Manchester City player is sat warm on the bench. That's a risk that we're going to have to take. Look at the people that have played Aguero in the last couple of game weeks and picked up, I think it's 33 points. It just happens. Those same people might have held Aguero weeks ago when he got benched and benched and benched again, even after he turned from injury. That's football, that's FPL. So they're the risks that I'm going to take, because I can sit here and say, oh, 1.9 million, play it safe, finish the season sort of 1.5 million. It's not impressive. Or I go for it and I get inside the top million, or I drop all the way down to 3 or 4 million overall ranking. You know, there's not a big difference. Sort of the rank I've got now isn't good at all. So dropping further down or dropping a little bit down, it's not going to look any better or any worse, really. It just looks terrible. So I'm just going to go for it. So we'll see how that goes anyway. So having a look at the people to avoid, pick, and take a risk on, you can see we have Sergio Aguero, so 11.9 million, 17.7% ownership. So like with most Manchester City players, I said it earlier, it's just a question of pep roulette and playing time. But at less than 18%, he is still a real big differential. 5 goals, 33 points in 2 games, just cannot be ignored. I imagine there are a lot of people trying to get to Aguero from Jamie Vardy or Marcus Rashford, or if you're a little bit late, Harry Kane. But, you know, you've always just got to be wary of rotation, but it's a top quality player. And having, for example, Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Aguero on your side is such a lovely combination, and really lowly owned as well. And that's something that I would like to have. And with Manchester City having slightly more difficult fixtures coming up, I actually feel that means that there could be less rotation rather than more. I know the Champions League's coming back. Maybe they don't feel like they can win the title, but they still want to finish top 2. But I actually see City having difficult fixtures as a positive in terms of rotation, because we see them rotate against the lower teams. But they've got Sheffield United away, which is not easy. Spurs away, West Ham at home, Leicester, Arsenal, Manchester United. And I think in these games, they are going to play their stronger team. Whereas, you know, if they were playing, we just saw against Crystal Palace, or, you know, no disrespect, but teams like Watford, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, you'll probably see more rotation. But I feel actually getting in Manchester City, the big Manchester City players, could be a good thing, because they're playing more difficult teams, therefore should be playing a stronger side. Because, you know, for example, against Tottenham Hotspur or Manchester United or Arsenal, they still want to really win these games. They want to win every game, of course, but, you know, they really want to beat their rivals, Champions League rivals, and sort of still assert their dominance. And they're a top quality side. There's no difficult fixture really for Manchester City except Liverpool. So seeing sort of red on the fixture ticker for Manchester City, I think, is a little bit misleading, because they're still an absolute incredible side. Also on this list, not Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, 7.9 million, 12.9%. So Burnley might be feeling a little bit pumped up after that Leicester victory. But we're still looking at Manchester United's main striker, who's less than 8 million and is actually out of position fielder. So Manchester United, whilst a little bit inconsistent, they have a pretty good home record, and they're against a team that doesn't travel very well. He also had quite a few chances against Liverpool. There was one that really sticks in my mind where he blazed it. It was Manchester United's best move of the game. He did a pass inside, it flicked over, and he just smashed it just over the corner. So, you know, before Liverpool got that second goal, I saw the percentage of possession in sort of the last sort of 5-10 minutes was 85% possession. So they almost nicked a point there at Liverpool before, you know, Alisson whipped it up to the other end for Salah to get the winner. But with Rashford out as well, Martial is still going to lock in that forward position, and he is someone that I've been wanting for a long time. So I think Anthony Martial against Burnley at home is a really good option too. And of course, the last one that we don't need to talk too much about has to be Liverpool. So you've got Trent, Robbo, Van Dijk, Salah, Mane, and Firmino. So you've got 6 top players there. Simple for me is the defense have a higher floor. So, if you've got a few defenders and there's a clean sheet, they all get pretty decent points. But the midfielders do have a higher ceiling. So we've just seen another clean sheet for the defense. But to be honest, if you watch that Liverpool United game, Salah and Mane could have got like 2 goals each at least. He probably should have. There was a miss or a good save, you could say, from David De Gea from Mane. And Salah was right across the 6-yard box and he sort of miscued it, put it wide. So I'll still stick with what I said before. I do feel that it's Trent, Robbo, Salah, Mane, maybe Firmino could be in there, but definitely Trent, Robbo, Salah, and Mane. And I don't really think you can go wrong. Like, again, I said earlier about being angry at the decision and not the result. If you choose 3 of those 4 players, I do feel that's the right decision. And I will also still say that just don't destroy your team and take these huge hits just to force that double midfield or midfield and attack, because we could be sat here next week saying Salah was dropped for 1 game and Mane was dropped for the 2nd game. Like, there's no guarantee that these players don't get rotated. We could see Origi coming in for Mane for a game, or Salah for a game, or Firmino for a game. However, I feel like there is less rotation risk in terms of the defense. We could see Gomez go to right back, Matip to centre back, and TAA missing a game, but I really don't see Robertson getting rested at all, or Virgil van Dijk in these 2 games. So if you want to play super safe, maybe go for defense, but I still feel that double attack, or say double midfield really, so Salamane, I still feel that is the best combination. Going into the differential, so again, Heung-min Son, 9.9 million, 7.5% ownership. He is a quality player. He still does look a little bit rusty, but then again, so does Spurs. But I feel Heung-min Son plus a good Liverpool trio to see a really good rank rise in Game Week 24. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of people playing triple captain chips, so don't be too disheartened if you do get a decent score and find yourself not rising that much, because a lot of people are going to be playing their triple captain chips this game week. But I feel that him plus the Liverpool players could be a good rise. And there's just a lot of potential. They're at home. They're against Norwich, one of the worst defenses in the league. And Spurs need to sort of kickstart their season again. And I think this could be the game for them to do it. I mean, if you're looking at another 0-0, 1-1, 1-0 Spurs result here, I think that's going to put a lot of people off for the rest of the season, myself included. But we're looking pre-game, and Heung-min Son at home to Norwich looks like a pretty good fixture. Next, he's still on the list. He was here last week. He's here this week. That's more pay, 5.9 million, 2.5%. 4 points he got with that assist. He looked lively, and now he's away to the worst side in the league with just 2.5% ownership. So he was just sticking in my differentials for this game week. I did say last week that he was in this more because of his fixtures over form. He picked up an assist last week. He looks lively, and now he's against arguably, or currently, the worst team in the Premier League. So it's pretty difficult to go with that. And finally, Snodgrass, 5.2 million, 0.7% ownership. So I did tweet about this after I saw him come on against Sheffield United. You can see I just put it up here. So just after I saw him come on against Sheffield United, I thought, wow, he kind of changed the game. He looked like he was he really boosted West Ham. So I said made a difference when he came on against Sheffield United. And talk about his last 4 as well. So in recent games, he's got 8 points, 1 point, 6 points, 1 point, 5 points. But those low scores, those ones, are because he played less than 30 minutes. He didn't start, right? So recently, it's like when he has played or started most of the game, he's played sort of 75 to 80 minutes. He's actually returned. And he just got another assist against Everton from a free kick. So perhaps he's on some set pieces as well. So I've personally taken a short-term punt on him for Moy because not only is he actually, when he's playing, he's getting some returns and he looks like he's picking up West Ham at the moment. He's got a double game week. I keep saying it's not just Liverpool, it is West Ham as well. Yes, they have 2 difficult fixtures, but if he plays 2 games, even if he doesn't do anything, he'll get 4 points, and that is still, better than a lot of players are going to get in a single game week. So he'll be in for this double game week, and then it's Brighton as well, which at home, which I think is a pretty good fixture too, that he could return in, and then he'll probably move on after that. So he's my short-term punt. I'm personally bringing in 0.7% ownership. He's got a double game week, been returning when he's actually started and not been dropped. So we'll see how he does. So that's going to be it for this game week, guys. Hopefully, we're all going to have a much better game week in the double. Try not to worry too much. Again, I do feel with the final note about Liverpool is sort of choose 3 of them and see how it goes. A big differential, you can play it more safe. So I do think now in the top 10k, almost 9% of the top 10k players have gone for Alexander-Arnold, Salah, and Mane. But it's just play it how you want to play it. If you're sat at 1.9 million overall ranking like I am, maybe go more differential. I played my wildcard and I did Salah and Mane early. Had I been playing my wildcard now, I probably would have gone towards Brent, Salah, and Firmino, because you could swap him out for Vardy if you've not done that triple up yet, and just try not to take too many hits just to get there. Because if you're taking -4, -8, kind of taking out one of those 2 double game week games, it's pointless anyway. And also, don't worry about the rank rises. There's going to be a lot of triple captaincy chips. So if you kind of feel like this double game week wasn't great for you, that's because a lot of people are activating their chips for this game week. So let me know in the comments below, what are you guys finally going to do for this double game week? Have you got any West Ham players? What do you guys think about Snodgrass? Maybe Hallier up front? Who knows? But hopefully we'll have a good game week this game week. I'm going to go more differential and we'll see how that goes, because 1.9 million good enough. So thank you for watching, guys, and as always, have a good one.